Detroit citizens speak up at the bankruptcy trial.
Murder conviction determined. Hi, I'm Samantha Ruff.
And I'm Amer Mansoor, and this is Public Eye News. NMU's PEEF has been upgrading the swimming pool over the past few years. A month ago, NMU announced that a men's swim team will be started next fall. NMU Athletic Director Forrest Carr has said that the major pool upgrades help start the swim team. Improvements include a new filtration system, lighting, and repaired tiles. Carr stated that costs for the new pool would have been $11 million compared to the $600,000 spent on these improvements. Due to railroad repairs, Lake Bluff Drive in Gladstone will be closed for all traffic on October 15th and 16th. According to the Delta County Road Commission, the new railroad crossing will be built on a composite. Lake Bluff will be closed between US 2 and Lake Bluff Golf Course for the duration of the construction. Judy Norman of the Delta County Road Commission recommends that traffic use Tipperary Road, then the South or North Bluff entrance, or take 420 and 426 out of the paper mill.
3 students could most likely be held responsible for fires that were set at an unoccupied house and barn on a Michigan school district's property. The fires on Monday in Jackson County's Sandstone Township are being ruled suspicious since they occurred at the same time. All 3 students are from Western High School and were reportedly bragging about skipping classes and setting the fires. The juveniles have recently been released to the custody of their parents, and prosecutors are reviewing the case. Nobody was injured in the fire. The murder conviction and sentence for a Detroit woman who killed her 17-year-old grandson has been decided by Michigan Appeals Court. Sandra Lane had said her rights were taken away when the judge would not allow her to mention comments made by her grandson, Jonathan Hoffman. She said the comments would have added to her claim of self-defense, but the court rejected the argument. Hoffman was shot 6 times, including 2 shots to the back at their home in West Bloomfield Township. Lane, who is now 76, had been convicted of second-degree murder in 2013 and was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Lane told the jurors she felt overwhelmed by Hoffman's troubles, including his drug use.
Detroit Judge Stephen Rhodes is allowing citizens to voice their opinion during the Detroit bankruptcy trial. 36 Detroit citizens spoke to city lawyers during today's trial. Locals such as Joanne Watson complained that Detroit's downfall was due to the state's lack of revenue sharing to Detroit, along with the recent cuts in pensions. As the bankruptcy trial closes, Rhodes must decide if Detroit's exit strategy is fair. The strategy includes spending over $1 billion to improve city services, lower the debt, and end Detroit paid health insurance. In Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker spoke about his opinion concerning minimum wage. During an interview with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel editorial board, Walker said that while he doesn't support increasing the minimum wage, he also doesn't support repealing it altogether. Walker's challenger, Mary Burke, supports raising the minimum wage from $7.25 per hour to $10.10 per hour. Walker stated that his goal is to keep the minimum wage and raise wages for everyone. And after the break, we'll be back with national and international news. Stay tuned.
Next time on the PBS Arts Fall Festival, San Francisco Opera's acclaimed production of the Gershwins' Porgy and Bess, starring Eric Owens as Porgy and Laquita Mitchell as Bess, and with songs including Summertime and Bess You Is My Woman Now. Next time on the PBS Arts Fall Festival, the Gershwins' Porgy and Bess from San Francisco Opera.
Friday evening at 9 on Public TV 13.
And welcome back. More than $1 million in ads that criticize lawmakers for not stopping the flow of new workers into the U.S. is being run by an anti-immigration group. Earlier today, Numbers USA began a 10-state ad buy that asks whether Americans or immigrants should receive new jobs. The ad mentions how immigrants are the ones who are finding work while longtime residents struggle to find a job. The ads will air in states who have a competitive Senate, which includes Michigan. Numbers USA is a group that wants to reduce the number of immigrants to then help American workers. A new type of credit card is coming. Some stores are already accepting new cards that come with a more secure computer chip. While the chip can stop criminals from duplicating your card, it may not stop hackers from getting your credit card number. Julie Watts explains.
From Target to Home Depot and all the credit card breaches in between, there's been a lot of talk about chip cards and a lot of unanswered questions.
Well, most people have actually seen these terminals and seen these cards. They don't necessarily know how they work.
But as Verifone's Eric Blute demonstrates, it's simple. Instead of a swipe, with chip cards, you dip.
So when I go to the store, the checker might say, I need you to dip your card.
Absolutely.
But in addition to prompting a shift in our lingo, the global provider of credit card terminals says chip cards will make us significantly more secure, as they've done in Europe for years.
So the stripe on the back of our credit and debit cards is actually incredibly easy to duplicate, whereas the chip is virtually impossible to duplicate.
Counterfeit cards currently account for 1/3 of all credit card fraud. But with a chip card, even if a crook stole your credit card information, they'd physically need your chip to make a purchase in store. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to use it online. As long as retailers continue to store your data, it remains susceptible to crooks.
While crooks won't be able to duplicate your card and use your information in store, it's still not foolproof.
That's correct. And if the system were to get hacked, that card number could get stolen.
Now, many retailers already have the new card terminals. They're expected to be activated by October of 2015. That's a deadline set by the card companies. After that, they say retailers will be held responsible for any resulting fraud. For CBS News, Julie Watts, San Francisco.
According to British prosecutors, police have found a dossier labeled Plan A in the home of a man that is accused of plotting a terrorist attack. 26-year-old Errol Install is charged with preparing a terrorist attack and possessing bomb-making instructions. Other evidence includes the address of former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Due to the national security concerns, some parts of the trial are being held private. At this time, Install denies the charges. Ebola fears are on the rise after another Ebola case surfaced in Dallas overnight. The CDC confirms that the latest patient tested positive for Ebola just a day after flying from Cleveland to Dallas-Fort Worth. Adriana Diaz has the latest from the Dallas hospital that has become known as the ground zero for Ebola in the U.S.
A third Ebola case has been diagnosed in Dallas, and officials warn it may not be the last.
We are preparing contingencies for more, and that is a very real possibility.
Last night, a female healthcare worker was put into isolation at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital, where she was part of the team that treated Thomas Eric Duncan. The Liberian man died from the virus a week ago. Officials do not yet know how the unidentified patient got the virus. Hazmat teams started to decontaminate the area around her apartment this morning, and a reverse 911 call went out to homes in the neighborhood, alerting residents. The overnight diagnosis follows new accusations that Dallas healthcare workers were not prepared for Ebola. The head of National Nurses United says that workers were given little protective gear and that Duncan's lab samples were mishandled.
Lab specimens from Mr. Duncan were sent through the hospital tube system without being specifically sealed and hand-delivered.
Officials at Texas Health Presbyterian deny there was a systemic problem at their hospital.
We're a hospital that may have done some things different with the benefit of what we know today, but makes no mistake, no one wants to get this right more than our hospital.
Doctors say the condition of 26-year-old nurse Nina Pham has improved. She also caught Ebola while treating Duncan. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Dallas.
The U.S. military launched 18 airstrikes overnight near the city of Kobani, which intensified an air campaign against the Islamic State militants' efforts to capture the city near Turkey's border. The Central Command headquarters announced that the airstrikes, saying they were in addition to 21 that were launched near Kobani yesterday. The airstrikes destroyed several Islamic State fighting positions and also hit 16 buildings that were holding militants. 5 airstrikes were also launched last night in Iraq. The time and location of where the European Space Agency will attempt to land the first spacecraft on a comet has been announced. The space agency said that the probe Rosetta will release the 220-pound lander at 3:35 Eastern Time on November 12th. The entire process is expected to take 7 hours. But due to radio signals taking 28 minutes to travel back to Earth, confirmation won't occur until around 11:03 a.m. Eastern Time. And after the break, we'll have your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
On High School Bowl this week, our first game is between the Marquette Redmen and the Houghton Gremlins. This week brings you the semifinal games. Please join us The second game is between the Iron Mountain Mountaineers and the Sault Ste. Marie Blue Devils. See you at High School Bowl.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tyczkowski, and welcome back to Public Eye News. As you can see behind me, it's been a cold, cloudy, and somewhat rainy day on campus today. Currently, it is foggy with a temperature of 46 and winds out of the north-northeast at 19 miles per hour with a barometric pressure of 29.91 inches and rising. Tonight, it's going to be cloudy with a low of 43 and winds out of the north-northwest at 9 miles per hour. And then tomorrow it's going to be partly cloudy with a high of 52 and winds out of the north at 5 miles per hour. And as you can see, it is 54 and cloudy in Sault Ste. Marie, 51 in Manistee, 50 in Escanaba, and also 50 in Menominee. It is 49 and cloudy in Iron Mountain, 55 and sunny in Ironwood, 54 and partly cloudy in Houghton, and 46 and cloudy back here in Marquette. Looking ahead, Friday is going to be a rainy day with a high of 52 and low of 39. Saturday is also going to be rainy with a high of 42 and low of 33. And Sunday has a high of 49 and low of 39 and is going to be partly cloudy. The weather's been looking down lately, but I heard it's looking up for the Kansas City Royals.
It's a really great day for the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals defeated the Baltimore Orioles to take a 3-0 lead in the ALCS yesterday. Led by third baseman Mike Moustakas, the Royals beat the Orioles 3-0 in their first playoff appearance in 29 years. The Royals have won 10 straight postseason games, including all 7 they've played this year. The Royals are 1 win away from sweeping the Orioles and advancing to their first World Series since 1985. The Royals will look to end the series tonight at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell has waived his right to a preliminary hearing on marijuana possession and DUI charges. The 22-year-old teammate LeGarrette Blount were arrested on August 20th in Pittsburgh after an officer smelled marijuana coming from a vehicle the two got out of. Police say the players acknowledged buying and smoking marijuana, but Bell claimed he was not high at the time of the traffic stop. With the waiver, Bell must either plead to all or some of the charges against him. Blunt's attorney has postponed his client's hearing until December 10th. Kim Martin is testifying against Oscar Pistorius for the murder of her cousin Reva Steenkamp. Martin is the first family member of Pistorius' slain girlfriend to testify at the double amputee athlete's trial. Pistorius faces up to 15 years in prison after being convicted of culpable homicide or negligent killing for shooting Steenkamp. Martin testified Wednesday that Steenkamp and her had a strong bond from a young age. Prosecutors have insisted that Pistorius should go to prison for shooting Steenkamp, saying his actions have left a broken family. But Pistorius' defense lawyers want a sentence which involves periods of house arrest. The trial continues later this week. So, Samantha, you have a story about an emu?
I do, and I thought it's something that I would never hear. I'm not sure you'd ever thought you'd see a 6-foot-tall emu running through traffic, but the people in Tustin, California did. The emu had escaped from a backyard pen, but was shortly after returned by neighbors to join the other 2 emus it was living with. The emu is the second largest bird in the world after the ostrich and can sprint at almost 30 miles per hour. Michelle Obama is never one to turn down an opportunity, so most recently, she's been turning up for turnips and other vegetables when it comes to eating healthy and leading her campaign, Let's Move. Tuesday, the First Lady was joined by children from different school districts to harvest things from the White House kitchen garden. Michelle Obama planted the garden in 2009, a year before she began her Let's Move campaign to encourage children and families to eat healthier and exercise. I can't even believe that. They had an emu running through traffic at 30 miles per hour. Could you imagine?
Can't imagine
That's
that at
so
all.
fast. Oh my gosh, I could not.
That's all we have here for you at Public Eye News. Join us again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV